Welcome to the Artful Minds by the Atelier magazine, where we plug into the pulse of creation.
Good afternoon, and thank you, Annabella, for joining us. On behalf of Atelier team, I welcome you to this interview. Today, we are in conversation with Annabella Nassetti, an award-winning interior architect and designer known for her innovative approach to design. As the owner of a living concept, Annabella blends functionally, sustainability, and emotional well-being to create spaces that not only look beautiful but also enhance the lives of those who inhabit in them. Annabella, I would like to hear a few words from you.
Thank you very much for inviting me to this insightful interview, and thanks for showing interest in what I do. I found the questions very, very interesting. And when you talk about sustainability, what's important as a designer, we are the ones that sort of determine the future of a product, the future of how people live. So from the design stage to the construction stage, I always make sure that the methods and concepts I design are not only for the client's well-being, but are in view of sustainability, considered with producing materials that are sustainable and that do, for me, they have to last in time. I want the house to be a lifetime product, not a seasonal product. So, materials need to be used with care, and they need to be chosen very carefully. And what's also very important is when we design and build is to make sure that what you source is sourced sustainably from nearby. I speak from a personal experience last year when I had quite a few issues with foreign imports from Europe into the UK, and it was an example of how not to do it. And I said, I promised myself that from now on, from a point of view of logistics and also, we need to think ahead of how where things are being produced, say a kitchen and furniture for a house, and not only what materials, how far are they from where the project is, and that is ultimately the best way of thinking a project because it allows for modifications and management logistics, which make the project a lot more, well managed. So yes, it's about not only cost conscious, but longevity conscious and logistics conscious. That's what I think.
Okay. Thank you. That's wonderful to hear from you. Thank you so much. Before any further this thing, we will go on to the questions to get your insights. So, as sustainability becomes more important, how do you incorporate eco-friendly practices in architecture without compromising on design and functionality?
Well, you need to incorporate, there's many aspects of a design project, if I understand your question correctly. You need to anticipate how the client will live in the house. You need to anticipate how the best use of space and the best way that they will ultimately enjoy the house. And as designers, we need to make sure that also we need to incorporate elements in a house that allow for the client to connect to what's important with them, sort of emotionally, internally. So it's important to separate the space in areas where the client, has the right, the right sort of balance in allocation of space, time, and function of a room. And every element that we put into the house needs to somehow interact with the client's sort of intellect and to ultimately allow them to organically live their life every day through exercises that complement the well-being from an emotional, point of view. And this is, I'm going a bit beyond the architecture world here, but it's very, very connected. And that is what I'm developing now. It's another view of how to see and sort of connect with clients to make sure that the best is delivered to them. Does it answer your question?
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. That's really thoughtful. How you're explaining the concept with regard to without compromising on design and functionality. That's really wonderful. Moving on to the next, in what ways can thoughtful interior design actually impact someone's mental and emotional well-being?
This is very much in line with what I'm doing now. And I've literally just written a book which is going to be launched this week, which is about, finding your heart. And it's about how we need to connect to our inner being, our inner self, to choose what we live with in our environments. I strongly feel that our home environment and our inner well-being are highly connected. And it's not only about aesthetics, but it's about, some people call it feng shui, some people, have different names. For me, it's a lot about, it's very bespoke. We're all different. We cannot generalize. And this is where, we need to choose the elements of design in our house based on how we feel inside. It's an art which is really pretty new. And it's, ultimately, I think it's what the future will be, because otherwise we're following trends, we're following aesthetics. They have a different purpose. They're not designed to be for the benefit of well-being. They're purely designed until now for, mostly, aesthetics and trends and fashion, you can combine the two. There's a way to do both, because I don't want to get away from the aesthetics, of course, but we need to complement with what's right for us. And that is about connection and about self-analyzing and start feeling your body, that's how it is.
That's really wonderful because like we generally say, like wherever we are, the space, the where we are going to live or where we are going to work makes a lot of impact with regard to our productivity and then well-being. That's really wonderful what you said. So you mentioned design as a tool for healing and inspiration. What does a healing space look like to you?
To me, I have my healing room where I live, which is my small sanctuary, which I think is something we all need. It's a place in your space that when you sit there that's where I meditate every morning and I stretch every morning. You feel connected, you feel grounded, and it's literally a small space that's yours. It's whether you live with other people, it's your little cocoon. And you put your things that sort of they make you feel good, whether it's incense, whether it's a Buddha, whether it's, whatever it is, a cross, whatever has meaning to you, to remind us every day of who we are, and I think it's something which it's important to have because it does ground us, and that's what we all need every day before we start the day. So that's what my sort of routines are, and I think it works. So I'm trying to promote, as
Okay.
I go on.
Thank you. Thank you. With technology rapidly changing design, how do you stay rooted in human-centered, meaningful creativity?
There's things that tap into our well-being, i.e., music, light, natural light into a house, you know, change of colors, change of scenes, things that make us feel good, And technology in a house is it needs to be used very carefully because it can really get out of control. Some clients really want the most high-tech solutions, which are not
Mm.
only absurdly expensive, but they change so much. They are not obsolete. Everything is just moving so quickly. And I always say to myself and my clients, what again keeps us grounded? You like to see things that are, cool and, that are linked to technology. Of course, sound systems, automated window treatments, light effects. I used to have a flat where I had the lighting scheme of the room changed. It was on filters, on fiber optics. Now the technology of lighting changed. You would do with LEDs now, but the whole room would just go, be washed with different colors. And if you meditate when this is going on, you literally feel sensitive because you see the color even when your eyes are closed, and your body reacts. You become more relaxed, so you can stop the colors. You can use technology to complement your well-being again, but you cannot go overboard. It needs to be quite
Yeah,
reasonable.
I could. Yeah.
Then, of course, we have
Okay.
fingerprint technology to
Yes.
those, and that's what happens. Python manages excellent. We don't need a key anymore. You go there, zip, scans your finger. There you
Yeah.
go.
In
It's
fact,
fine.
one of my friend has built a house here in India with all the elements that you have told, like right from technology to the natural lighting to the high-rise ceilings and everything. It's wonderful. But on the technology side, there are a lot of issues. But otherwise, like the lighting and other things has really added a great value to the house. So
One
that's
thing I'd
that's.
like to add is people tend a lot to go now very wireless. And I
Mhm.
mean, this is a bit old school because I like my things to be wired because, connect signals can go, right? Imagine you spend so
Yeah.
much money in your house, you save on a
Yeah.
1% to
Yeah.
cable it in certain locations, not the whole apartment. And then, if the signal goes,
Mhm.
you lost. That's
Exactly.
I want to make sure that it's
Yeah.
future proof
Yeah.
with some, structure behind.
Yeah. That's really important. So that's really wonderful and very meaningful whatever you have shared. And it's time for us to move on to the rapid fire questions. So moving on to the number one, design trend you swear by.
I like I like a sort of classic minimalism, but not
Mhm.
cold, not bare. It needs to have some eclectic elements in it, or what represent you as a person. So that's a sort of minimalist sort of canvas background with hints of things that are yours, that bring out your personality.
Okay. One material you absolutely love working with.
The essence of wood. Wood to me is this, the not only the color, the texture, the smell, the
Mhm.
scent it generates.
Okay.
It's warm.
Yes.
That's what I like.
Okay. Natural light or smart lighting?
Good balance of both.
Okay. Most inspiring space you've ever walked into?
This is a space where I think I fell in love with design when I was very little. My father used to take us to Barcelona a lot, and we visited this Casa Batlló from Antoni Gaudí. And since then, I mean, it's the curved shapes. It's all like molded, like it's a model, And I fell in love with that. Even now, when I see it, I'm like, 100%, that's my place.
Minimalism or maximalism?
Minimalism.
A book or designer that shaped your vision?
There's a book that I bought a few years ago, which is about entryways of Milan. It's called Entryways of Milan. It's literally entryways designed by very important Italian architects that are, the foundation of classic design, modern
Hmm.
design.
Hmm.
Um, it's entryways that are built from the 1920s to 1970s, and they all have features of marble, patterns on the floors and columns, and they literally frame the entrance of these beautiful buildings in the center of Milan. So it's entryways of Milan.
Favorite city for architecture?
Venice.
Okay. Any specific reason when you say Venice?
Why? Well, Venice is in itself, and wherever you look, it's mind blowing, and you're like, I'm like, it's absolutely fascinating. And
In fact, why I prompted that question is I recently read an article about how the city was built. So that was the thing. So next question is first thing you notice when you enter a room?
when I enter a room, I feel the space, and I feel how the space, the volume, not only the floor, but the space, as in floor and ceiling height, is filled with furniture pieces that generate the functions in a room, and they need to have good balance, because it's how you feel the space that again generates good balance as a result.
Okay. Feng Shui, science, or intuition?
Intuition.
Your design mantra in one sentence.
Okay, this is something that I'm linked culturally, and everything I do is based on this. This is to be Milanese is to have an innate ability to distinguish the useful from the useless. Being from Milan is almost a philosophy rooted in a culture of efficiency, which is written by Alessandro Manzoni. So it's about balance. It's about the essential, not too much. Sometimes less is more, but effectively is what is essential and what is ultimately considered to be essential.
Okay. That's really wonderful. But before our closing note, I have the curiosity of asking one more question to you. What is it one thing or object everyone should have in their home to enhance positivity according to you?
I think we all need, as going back to what we spoke about before, is something that grounds us, that reminds us, something linked to the divine, whatever we really believe in religiously, religiously or not, something that we respect that reminds us how small we are and how grounded we need to be, whether it's a Buddha. At the moment, I have a Buddha and I have a Ganesh for new beginnings. So one is to link me to my inside, and one is to promote new beginnings and changes. So because change is the only constant in life, and I find that we need to grow every day, and growing, efficiently with the right sort of purpose, and something that reminds us of who we are and what we really want, what's important to us, and genuinely, start every morning from that. So by looking at your divine object, the day will follow with that sort of mantra.
Okay. When you said reminding who we are, it really like suddenly struck my mind. Stay grounded. Stay grounded and like don't forget your roots, which is one principle that I follow. From my heart, I follow that. That's really wonderful, Anna, for joining us today and giving your insights. And it was wonderful to read your article also in the Atelier magazine. Thank you so much, and we're looking forward for more such insightful conversations with you. Thank you so much for joining us today.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time and
Thank
for
you. Thank
that's
you.
lovely
Thank you
to
so much.
connect
Thank
with you
you.
guys.
Yeah.
Excellent.